When we have clients coming from other areas that do not have basements, it can be a little overwhelming and make them a little anxious. So what we're gonna do today is walk you through Basement 101 knowledge. My husband, Adam Stockberger, the other broker owner of Amy Stockberger Real Estate, is gonna give you the do's and don'ts in having a basement, keeping it dry, and how our mechanicals work. I'm Amy Stockberger, one of the broker owners of Amy Stockberger Real Estate. If you want to know everything there is to know about living, breathing, eating, and playing in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, then this is the channel for you. Go out and hit that subscribe button and click that bell as well, because that'll help you be notified every time we make a new video, and we're putting out as many as we can to help educate you on living in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Hi, I'm Adam Stockberger with Amy Stockberger Real Estate. I'm one of the broker owners, and I'm here to talk about Basements 101. One of the main questions we get from clients that are relocating or that are new to the housing market or that have even owned homes in the past is what's all included in that square footage total. Well, we talk about finished square feet and unfinished square feet. So think about a ranch home. Anything above grade that is finished is going to be obviously in your finished square foot, but then if you have some finished area down in the basement, meaning all sides, your walls, ceiling, and flooring, that is also going to be included in that total square footage that you're seeing out there online. It's a lot of questions that gets a little confusing. I hope that helps. A lot of the times that utility room is going to be declared as unfinished square feet because none of the ceilings, floors, and the walls are finished, usually just studs and insulation. So then that leads me into the different kind of lots that we have out there. One of the most popular and the most expensive lots out there is your walkout lots. Your walkout lots are gonna have a little bit of topography to them, a little elevation to where you can then have that slider that walks out into your patio from the basement, allows different access points to the home. So basically the back of the home is all open and above grade. The next type is a garden level lot. So in garden level lots, you have ground that surrounds the home, but you don't have access to that slider or that walkout into the backyard. You have your window that basically comes down and meets the ground level. And then we have what's declared as our flat lots. And our flat lots are gonna be those basements that are in the ground to where you have your window that's partially underground and a little bit above grade. So you're gonna have your window wells. And that's gonna lead us into our next segment here about drain tile and sump pits and how we mitigate water coming into the home. But it's good whenever you have those window wells, and it's code now to have drain tile in those, but to also have window well covers to help get that rainwater or snow melt away from the home and have it not come into the house. So here's the basics. And let me preface this with, I am not a professional, but I've owned a lot of homes and we've sold a lot of real estate, so we understand this. So next we're gonna take you downstairs to the utility room to kind of explain the sump pit drain tile system so that you can better understand what's going on. We get a lot of questions from people coming from out of state that maybe are in warmer climates that don't have basements, everything's slab on grade, or pre-existing homeowners, or first-time home buyers that have never owned a home at all want to understand how exactly does this sump pit and drain tile system work. Drain tile is black corrugated plastic tubing that goes around the foundation of your home on the outside. Any rainwater or melt from snow is gonna then trickle into those tubes and it's gonna be diverted into your sump pit, which is usually in your utility room. And then once that level of water raises in your sump pit is when the sump pump triggers to then pump that water out to the exterior of the home away. And one tip that I want to give you, because I've learned the hard way, both clients and myself, is that that tube that is on the exterior of your home where that sump pump is pumping that water out needs to be extended out and away from the home. What we found in other scenarios is that some people forget with the change of seasons that tube gets coiled up around next to the home, and when that water discharges, when that sump pump kicks on, it's discharging right next to the home. So if you're getting a big rain and you have rain going into the drain tile system, and then also your sump pump that is kicking or discharging that water out, and your tube's sitting right next to your foundation wall, it's overcompensating, or I guess maxing out that drain tile would be a good way to describe that. So what happens is the collection tank in your sump pit can't keep up with the amount of water the sump pump is trying to pump out. So just be sure to get that tube that is discharging that water away from the house, away from the foundation, so that it can, the drain tile system isn't fighting with maybe snow melt or the rainwater that's coming down. Some other tips that I want to point out, and in regards to keeping the water on the outside of the home instead of the inside of the home, is battery backup sump pumps. So what we've seen around our area here in the last several years is that we're getting 100-year rains, which means we can get anywhere up to 10 inches within a couple hours. So next I'm going to walk you through a utility room and kind of talk about the sump pit, sump pump, and the drain tile aspect of homes. Hi folks, we're down in the utility room, and I'm just going to briefly go over what I talked about with the sump pit and the sump pump and the drain tile system. So in here we have the sump pit. This is the radon mitigation, so don't let that fool you. I'll talk about that a little later, but this is the discharge hose to this sump pit. Now this particular one does not have a sump pump in here. And you do see that in Sioux Falls. There's some areas where it's just, whether it's higher elevation or whatever the case may be, you may not even have a sump pit. So in some areas just don't have sump pumps because they don't have any water issues. But a lot of the times, I would say probably 90% of the times, you're going to have a sump pit and a sump pump system with a drain tile system coming into it. All right, the drain tile system that we have basically comes in here, and we'll have some different pictures, but you can actually see the drain tiles poking out from in here. This is what bleeds all of that water into this pit. If you have rainfall or snow melt into here, once the level of water rises, there's a float on the sump pit. And once that float gets triggered up to a certain point, it'll kick that sump pump on, and then it'll discharge it out through this hose. And when I talk about that discharge hose on the exterior, this is what it's hooked to. So when this pokes out of the other side of the foundation, you have your discharge hose. That's what you want to extend out into the yard so that it gets away from the home. Radon testing will typically run you about $100. It takes about 48 hours to get back, a little bit more because they set a little module down here that reads per hour what those picocuries are reading, and then it takes an average at the end of it. But if radon is elevated, radon mitigation systems, so that includes the installation of the plexiglass or cover over your sump pit, your tubing, your motor, your retesting, you can get that for under $900. Now let's switch over to Amy. She's going to talk a little bit more about the major mechanical aspect of the utility room.
We are in a utility room. Utility rooms in Sioux Falls, what that means is where our big mechanics are. So this is our furnace down here in our utility rooms. The majority of utility rooms are in the basements of our home. This one does have over a 90% efficient furnace, and you can tell when they have a PVC pipe, that means it's over 90% efficient. This house has a whole house humidifier, and those are awesome. It does get a little dry here during the winters, so being able to have this and put that moisture into the air is really big for just comfort of living during those times. And it's super easy to operate. You come in and out, you put it to summer setting during the summer, turn it to winter in the winter, so it's kind of Amy-proof. It's foolproof on that. Then here's your water heater. Water heaters typically last anywhere between 6 and 10 years. They can last longer. I've seen these girls last over 25 to 30 years, but it sits right in here. And then this is a water softener. In Sioux Falls, it's not a requirement. Our water is really good, and it's pretty much a 50-50 on people's preference if they want to have their water soft. You just put salt in this. This one's owned, There are options to rent them through Culligan or other services here in town, but again, it's more of a preference, not a mandatory thing that we need in our area. One thing I recommend to all of my clients, especially our new clients, because we're really big about system-centric and making sure that they understand the hacks and the checklist and the process of home ownership, because there are some things that are involved, of course. We give them the checklist, we send them out the details on what they need to be looking for every season in their home. One of the big things is we recommend using one of our home support partners, Waterbury, and just put an annual protection on it where they come out, you pay an annual fee, it's so low. You come out and they take care of your furnace and your AC twice a year, change the filters, make sure everything's working, and it just gives you such a peace of mind to know that when you need that heater's gonna work. When it's 100 degrees in August, that AC is gonna work. I hope that helped, guys.
Awesome info, Adam. Thank you so much for helping out. I hope that helps you guys on what you need to know, the 101s of having a basement in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. As always, if you're thinking about relocating and coming here to stay, give us a call, shoot us a text, shoot us an email. The easiest way for you to get a hold of us, we'll get back to you right away. We have your back in relocating to Sioux Falls, and we have a very all-inclusive integration package too. So we're not only gonna relocate you in, we'll get you integrated into our community with everything you need to move into Sioux Falls stress-free.